Hello, welcome to Life Coach for the Soul. I'm your host, Kathy Morrison, and this week we're going to be focusing on the ABCs of emotion. And all through the month of August, we're going to be discussing those emotions from A to Z. We're going to explore emotions from A to Z. And today, our topic is going to be affection, anxiety, bitterness, a critical emotion, being critical, uh, disappointment, envy, and frustration. So those are the first six topics we'll be covering today from A to F. So I appreciate you for joining me today, and I hope that this segment will bring you some type of hope, encouragement, and some relief as to how you can process these following emotions and also be able to handle them better and be prepared to handle situations that provoke these type of emotions or some type of other emotion that's either negative, damaging, or inappropriate. In the moment, I would like for you to learn how to deal with these type of emotions. So let's begin with anger. Anger, we've talked about before, and we all know that sometimes there is processed anger, suppressed anger, or just stressed anger. And anger is an emotion that comes when we're upset, even when we are, um, I guess, in the heat of an argument or a disagreement, or we can be angry with a person, for something they've said or done. And we must learn to deal with anger, or it will deal with us. Anger is usually something that we don't like to admit that we are. Sometimes we try to play it off and pretend that we're really not angry. But if we know that we are, we should really deal with it, even if it means removing ourselves from the environment or around the person that has made us angry, or we should cease discussing something or a topic or a discussion that has made us angry because we had a disagreement during that discussion, or we found out something that someone have said that makes us angry. Whether it be true or not, it can still cause some really angry emotions to occur. And the only thing that I recommend to do first is to calm down, take a few deep breaths in and out, breathe, count to 10. Like I said, remove yourself from the environment of the anger and just take a break. Take a break from the environment, the person, or whomever is causing the anger. It needs to be totally shut down immediately if it has gotten out of hand and escalated to a point of increased anger, to where you're just fuming with anger. You definitely want to do something that will calm yourself down, especially if it is a heated discussion. So be sure and think about that the next time you are about to become angry or someone has made you angry. Remember to have an exit. You got to have an escape plan so that that doesn't happen, again. So be sure and think about that. Um, I guess another emotion that begins with A is anxiety, and we have all experienced that. We can be anxious about something that we are hoping will happen, expecting to happen, or it's something that we do not know how it's going to turn out when it happens. So we can be anxious about many things, and it only causes anxiety. I know there are some that even have anxiety attacks, similar to panic attacks. Is when you get so overwhelmed with what you think is going to happen that you worry to the point of, working yourself into a nervous frenzy. And that's something that we definitely don't want to happen, with us or with anyone around us. And again, with anxiety, it's almost the same as how you would process anger. You calm down first and do not worry about what could or could happen or what should happen, and that way you don't get, disappointed in what does happen. But you really should avoid getting upset over the unknown, because it will only cause more anxiety the more you worry about it, or the more you try to predict what you think may happen, because sometimes it doesn't happen. And that's what worry is. If you're anxious because you're worrying about something, worry means you're just worrying about something that may or may not even occur or may not even happen. So try to be calm in those moments as well. The next emotion I want to discuss during this topic this week is bitterness. And of course, we've talked about it before. And bitterness is just one of those negative and toxic emotions that we harbor, because bitterness isn't going to hurt the other person. It only is going to hurt you or me when we are harboring bitterness, whether we're mad at someone or holding a grudge, or even withholding forgiveness from that person. That's what bitterness does. It hurts us more than it hurts that other person. And I suggest that to deal with bitterness, you have to start with attempting to forgive that person, whether they apologizes or not, or whether they even seek to reconcile with you. Forgiveness is the key. It's the answer to your peace. It may not necessarily, like I said, it doesn't mean you're reconciled with the person. You may not even want to. They may not even want to. They may not even apologize. But it will help you to let it go. That's how you protect your peace. That's how you guard your heart, by being the bigger person, taking the high road and letting that person, you're not letting them off the hook, but you are letting them know that you are concerned about your peace and you want to do what's best for you in protecting your peace. And you start with forgiving that person. It may take some time, it may not happen overnight, but at least stop thinking negative thoughts toward that person. And that will also help you to overcome the bitterness, sooner than it would if you continue to focus on what they did to you, or what they did or said to make you angry. So it's always good to start with forgiveness. The next emotion, the C word, critical. And there's a lot of words that begin with the letter C that involve our emotions, whether it's compassion, it can be being critical, it could be coveting something. Coveting means you wish you had something that someone else had, or you wish you looked like someone else looks. And so you begin to covet that person. And it's never good to covet a person or any resources that a person has, or even material things that a person may have. Sometimes those material things do not bring any type of joy or peace or happiness, because happiness is not found in material things. It's not found in finances. It's only found within. And so you determine your happiness. And as far as being critical, I know I have, witnessed my share of people who may be critical. It could be, a friend that think they're meaning well, but they are really being critical of you in some area. It could be a parent. It could be a relative. It could be a spouse. It could be someone you're dating. They, choose to criticize rather than to compliment. And in that case, you do want to limit your interaction with someone who has a critical spirit, because that critical spirit definitely has a root, and it probably stems from something that occurred in their life at one point, and they haven't really learned how to be complimentary. Instead, they choose to be critical, either because of their own insecurities, perhaps, or it could be another reason, but you definitely want to limit your involvement, or I guess association with someone who has what I consider a critical, emotion, or a critical mindset, or even a critical spirit. Criticism is just never uplifting it's never edifying, to the person that's being criticized. It can cause it can cause you to feel very, sad and just very unwelcome and uncomfortable. It can even make you feel awkward. So the best way to respond is to say something positive and to pretty much reject what they're saying, but do it in a nice, polite, calm way that doesn't lead to more criticism or more defense. Because if you do respond, they may think you are being defensive, but you're really just, protecting your heart and guarding your own mindset and your own attitude toward yourself. So make sure you stay positive, even when the critical person isn't positive. The D word is disappointment. I know we've all faced disappointment at some time in our lives. I know I have. I'm sure most of us have. And disappointment can be, it can be a serious disappointment. It could be something light that we expected, something small. But, large or small, disappointment still feels like disappointment. And I know I've seen quotes that say, well, the best way to avoid disappointment is not to expect anything. But that sounds a bit harsh and very negative. I'd rather still have hope without being totally, devastated when that hope doesn't mature into something that I wanted or hoped for or looked forward to. We shouldn't become too disappointed in ourselves when we don't reach a goal by a certain time frame, but when we don't achieve what some people consider, success. Disappointments only come when we have, high expectations that are, not realistic. And it doesn't mean that you can't have goals, and our goals can be real, they can be believable. We can believe in ourselves to achieve those goals, but do not, put such a high level of expectation or a goal too high that you get totally disappointed when you don't achieve it. Take baby steps, one small goal at a time. That way you can celebrate along the way until you achieve or reach that goal. So do not let disappointment disappoint you to a degree that it affects you emotionally, short term or long term. And if it does affect you, make sure it is short and not long enough to lead you to down a road of depression or totally discouragement. Okay? The next emotion is envy. Envy is similar to being a coveting person. Coveting means you wish you had what someone else had, or the way someone looked, or something they achieved. You would like to have that, or you wish you had it. Envy, on the other hand, is being disappointed or totally unhappy because that other person does have it. You may not want it, but you envy them because they have it. And envy can be a very toxic and negative emotion if you hold on to that. It causes you to not be really happy about your own blessings in life, your own achievements, because you're too busy, watching what someone else has accomplished or what someone else has. You definitely don't want to become a person that allows that to stay within your heart or your thoughts, because it's not a positive, kind emotion. Envy can also provoke, strife in you, because you not only will be envious of that person, but you will harbor strife against them. So try and focus on your own goals. Be happy with your own things that you do like about you. You are unique. We're all unique. We shouldn't try to imitate someone else or be like someone else. I think we should be glad and thankful for what we have in life in general, So try not to be an envious person. It can cause you to be, negative and even miserable at some point if you do not change your focus and think more positively and learn to celebrate others when they're happy. Learn to be happy for them for whatever things they have in life, whether it be material or whether it be I guess a relationship or whatever it is. It could be career success. I always believe in celebrating others no matter what they have achieved, and I'd rather do that, than to be an envious person. And our last emotion that we are going to discuss in this session, and which is the first session in my series for the month of August, the ABCs of emotion. The word we're going to discuss next, the emotion, is frustration. And again, we can all get frustrated, from time to time for one reason or another. And frustration, can be pretty bothersome. And it can also lead to, being stressed, upset. And we can get frustrated, with ourselves. We can get frustrated with others in the workplace, in our homes. Frustration can come from anywhere, I've gotten frustrated before just from, being stuck in traffic. And then I would often just calm down and say, okay, nothing I can do to change that. Other people are on the road. They're probably feeling the same thing I'm feeling, ready to get home or ready to make it to my destination. So it's really no one's fault. You can't blame someone. And you definitely hope there hasn't been, an accident, up the road where someone may be injured. So I've always tried to calm down when I think of that scenario. I'd rather arrive home safely and calmly rather than to be upset because I haven't made it home yet. I'd rather be thankful that I'm going to make it home safely, and that's my prayer. So I try to calm down in that moment. We can become frustrated, dealing with someone in customer service at a restaurant, a waiter, if our food isn't, brought to the table the way we ordered it, there's so many things that can cause frustration. Frustration is going to be here. It's never going to go away. Frustration is just that. It's frustrating. That's right. Frustration is frustrating. And again, we have control over our emotions. We have control over our thoughts. And we shouldn't think on anything that's going to bring us into deeper frustration with ourselves or with others. And it's important to think about what you think about on a daily basis from moment to moment. God's word tells us to think on things that are pure, things that are true, things that are lovely, positive thoughts, thoughts that would bring joy, thoughts that would bring, peace, contentment, nothing that would disrupt your moment of tranquility, your moment of just having a good day. Do not let anyone decide how your day will turn out. That's your decision. That's in your power, not in the hands of others. So regardless of what emotion that you have heard me discuss today, no matter what emotion you face each day that you're feeling, and sometimes we can. It's all about also what we're thinking. Don't think yourself into having a bad day. Think on things that are above. Not below. Nothing that brings you down. Nothing that brings you frustration or any of those emotions that we did discuss today. So thank you for joining me for this session of Life Coach for the Soul, the ABCs of Emotion. Join me next week as we explore the next 5 alphabets and the emotions that are associated with some of those letters that we will discuss. And I know the next letter we will take on is G. And we're going to be talking about guilt next week. And that's a serious topic that I know you will also find enlightening and encouraging. Thank you for joining me today. It's always my pleasure to have you as my guest. I enjoy sharing with you. I enjoy encouraging you. I enjoy coaching you into emotional wholeness. So take care, and I'll see you next time on Life Coach for the Soul.